All right, this is day 4 of Unit 6. Today we're going to talk about box and whisker plots. A box and whisker plot is a data that displays and organizes value into 4 groups. That means those 4 groups are each 1/4 of the data. So like these are 4 separate groups in our box and whisker plot. That's why these are the boxes and these are the whiskers right here. And each one is 1/4 of your data. So that means this is 25%, that's another 25, 25, 25. So that means if, like, say, for example, a question asks you what from 264 to 452 is, what percentage of your data, that's 50%. And the reason why that is because this point right here in the middle of my box and whisker, that's your median. So whenever to create a box and whisker plot, you always find the median first. That's that first part. Okay? And then this box right here is what's called your lower quartile. Or it's also known as Q2. Okay? This section is our upper quartile. Or our Q3. Okay? Which would make this to be my Q1 and this to be my Q4. It's quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Okay? And these 2 points here at the ends is our lower extreme. And this point right here is our upper extreme.
Hey, that's loud.
Yeah, that's too loud. Okay? The lower quartile is the median of the lower half, and the upper quartile is the median of the upper half. Okay? Your lower extreme is the minimum of your data value, and the upper extreme is the greatest or your max data value. Okay? And so the steps for creating a box and whisker plot is to, 1, order your data from least to greatest, just like we did when we were trying to find the median before. Like I said, you always find the median first, okay? Find the median of your data, then find the quartiles of your data, aka the upper half and the lower half. So that means you're basically going to find the median of the upper section and the median of the lower section to find your other quartiles. Find the extremes, aka your lower and upper one, and then you plot those points. And you draw the box and the whiskers, okay? When the data has an odd set of numbers, do not include the median in either half of the data when determining your quartiles. And I'll explain what that means here in a minute. All right, so for example, we have this data and it's already listed from lowest, or it's right here, they already listed it for us from smallest to largest, okay? So then they found their median, okay? Well, they had 2 separate data points in the middle, so they took the average, like we talked about before. When you have 2 points, you have to find the average. So 7 plus 12 divided by 2 gave us a median of 9.5. So those 2 points, since neither one of these were actually my median, you count those to find your lower quartile and your upper quartile, which basically means we're going to find the median again of those 2 points. So just like I did before when we were finding the medians, you crossed out the outsides. And we have 6 and 6, which means that my lower quartile is going to be 6. And then my upper quartile, we cross out the first 2. Then I have 13 and 17, which means I need to find the average of those 2. So 13 plus 17 over 2. And so 13 plus 17 gives me 30 divided by 2 gives me that my upper quartile is 15. Okay? And then my lower extreme is my lowest number, so that's 5. And my upper extreme is 19. All right? So to create that box and whisker plot, first I'm going to create my tick marks starting at 5 and going all the way up to 19. Try to make it as evenly separated with your lines as you possibly can. Again, it's easier on graph paper, but if you can do it on the actual paper, that's great too. So I'm going to start from 5 and just go from all the way to 19. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And I ended up creating it to where I had a little extra space. So I'm just going to ignore that extra space there and just look at from 5 to 19. Okay, you always start with graphing your median, which was at 9.5. So right in between 9 and 10, that's my median. So I'm going to draw a line straight up and down in between 9 and 10. And then I graph my upper and lower quartile. So 6 and 15 are my upper and lower quartile. So I'm going to draw a line right through 6 and 15. And that is what creates my box portion. Okay, you just connect all of those lines to create a big old box with your median and your upper and lower quartiles there. And then to create your whiskers, you just use your lower extreme, which is 5, and your upper extreme, which is 19, and then just connect the dots. And you have a box and whisker plot. Okay, so let's look at our next example. Okay, this time it wants us to do it straight from beginning to end. So we have 14, 6, 13, 17, 1, 12, 9, and 18. So first of all, we need to list it from smallest to largest. So starting at 1, and then we have 6, and then we have 9, and then we have 12, 13, 14, 17, and 18. Okay, so first thing we need to do is find the median. Okay, so I'm going to cross out each end. And so we got 12 and 13 as my median. So we're going to find the average there, 12 plus 13 over 2, which will end up giving me 12.5. Okay, so that's my median, is 12.5. Okay, to find my Q1, I'm going to use the first section. So again, like I said up here, since neither 7 or 12 were actually my median, the 7 goes for the lower, the 12 goes for the upper. So we're going to list 1, 6, 9, and 12. We're going to use that to find our Q1. And then 13, 14, 17, and 18 to find our Q2. So this is my median. Okay. And so we've got 1 and 12 can cross out. And then we've got 6 and 9. So again, we need to find the average. So 6 plus 9 divided by 2 gives me 7.5. So that is my Q1, or my lower quartile. Okay, then we're going to find our upper quartile. So I cross out 13 and 18, and that leaves me with 14 and 17. So 14 plus 17 divided by 2 gives me 15.5 as my Q3. Or that was Q2, I'm sorry. Q2 and Q3. All right. And then my lower extreme is 1 and my upper extreme is 18. So that means on my number line, I need to be numbering everything from 1 to 18. So I'm going to start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, running out of space, 17, and then I'm going to extend my line out to be 18. My bad. All right, so then we start with graphing our median. So our median is at 12.5, so right in between 12 and 13. That's my median. And then my Q2 is 7.5, so right in between 7 and 8. And then my Q3 is 15.5, so right between 15 and 16. So that's my box. And so that basically means that all of my data, with my data 25, well, it does mean, it doesn't basically mean, it means that 25% of my data is in here, 25% of my data in here, which means that the entire box contains 50% of your data, okay? And then my min up until my Q2, this contains 25% of my data. And from here to my max contains the other 25%. Even though it looks like it's all pushed over, it doesn't matter. All the data is still 25, 25, 25, 25. Okay, what this means is because my box is pushed more to the right, that means it's right skewed, versus up here, it's pushed more to the left, so that's more left skewed. So that just means the data is pushed more towards one side than the other. Okay? So then I'm going to flip over to the next page, and we're going to do it again. All right? So we want to create our box and whisker plot. So first we start numbering from least to greatest. So I've got 63. I've got 68, 77, 85, 99, and 112. Okay? So then I need to find my median. So I'm going to cross out each end here, here. Did I miss one? Oh, I missed 117. There we go. Okay. So 117, 63, 68, and 112, and then 77 and 99 cross out, which means that 85 is my median. Now, this is what I was talking about. If you have an odd set of numbers, this is number you do not include to find your Q2 and your Q3, okay? So you basically ignore 85 after you find the median, okay? I don't know why I wrote 85 again. I meant to write median. Okay, so to find my Q2, I'm just going to use these three data points, 63, 68, and 77. And then over here on this side, I'm going to use 99, 112, and 117. Okay, which is different from before, because before your median wasn't actually part of your data point. So you would basically split those data points in half. So if it's an even number of data points, which we did have here, then you use those points. But for here, because you had a specific median, you don't use that to find Q2 and Q3. All right, so then we find the median again. So that means that 68 is going to be my Q2. And then here, 99 and 117 cross out, so that means that 112 will be my Q3. All right. Now, this is kind of a big number. I'm not going to sit there and go in increments of 1 from 63 all the way over to 117. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I usually just kind of pick a number to go by, like go in increments of 5 or 10 or something like that. So in this case, I'm going to go in increments of 5, starting at 60. Yeah, I'm going to start at 60. So 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115, and 120. So that fits all of my points because my minimum number is 63. My bigger number is 117. So that's going to help me with being able to graph those points. So my median was 85. So again, we start by graphing that. And then we have 68 as our Q2. So right somewhere a little bit closer to 70, but not quite. And then Q3 is at 112, so a little bit over 110. And I create that box. And then my minimum point is 63, so right somewhere between 60 and 65, I'm going to do my one whisker. And then my max point is 117, so a little bit before 115 is there. Okay. So then that is like a normal distribution, because notice that my points are pretty much, not quite, but pretty much spread out pretty evenly. Like my whiskers are pretty even, my two boxes are set up pretty even, so that means it's not quite skewed like those other two we did before. Okay, so then looking here, we've got some examples. It says the box and whisker plot shows a class of test scores for two tests. What conclusions can you make? So first of all, it asks the blank are the same for both tests. So we want to look and say, okay, does this have the same? No. Are my Q2s the same? No. Neither are my medians. Neither are my Q3s. But my max values are both 91 for both test 1 and 2. So you would say that the upper extreme, or you could also say the max, are the same for both tests, because both of the tests topped out at 91. Okay. Then it asks you the median for the second test is blank than the median for the first test. So my second test, my median is 84 because it's that point in the middle. For test 1, my median is at 78. So that means my second test is greater than the median for the first test. I remember back when I was in high school, my teacher sent out this thing about a test score, and she was saying that the median was like a 78 or something like that, and my test was, oh, and then she also sent out the average. A lot of times that messes up with parents because they don't even understand what the median and the average are. And my mom was like, your test is below the median but it's above the average. What does that mean? And so she tried to get mad at me, but I was like, actually, I did better than what most people did in my class. So back off. So some teachers try to throw you off like that. Don't let them do that to you. All right. The blank for the first test is the same as the blank for the second test. We need to see where they have the same other than our upper extreme. Okay, so we got where they line up. Well, they both line up at 84, but so for my first test, this is my Q3, or you could also say upper quartile. So I'm gonna say / upper quartile because you need to know both terms. Is the same as the blank for the second test. Well, my second test at 84, that's my median. Okay. Then it says the scores for the blank are the more spread out than the scores for the blank. So when we talk about more spread out, we're talking about like how wide our box and whisker plot is. So if you look at test 1, we're going all the way from 62 to 91 versus test 2 is from 71 to 91. So test 1 is more spread because the variety of the test grades are way more spread out, or our range is larger than the range for the second test. So that means when we say the scores for the second or for the test 1 are more spread out than the scores for the test 2. Okay. Now, then it wants us to fill out some stuff. It says both the range, 91 minus 62. So we're going to do 91 minus 62 gives me 29. And the interquartile range, 84 minus 74. 84 minus 74 gives me 10. For the first test, are blank the range and the interquartile range. So let's come back to that blank. 91 minus 71 is 20. And then the interquartile range, 88 minus 80, gives me 8 of the second test. So both of these numbers, 29 and 10, are greater than our range for the second test, our range in our interquartile range, so greater than. And I just want to talk about the range versus the interquartile range for a second. Okay, we talked about the range on day 1. Range means you take your largest number minus your smallest number. So that's where they got the 91 minus 62 to be 29. That's our range. The interquartile range means we take our Q3 minus our Q2. Okay, interquartile range is Q3 minus Q2. Okay, we take 84 minus 74, and that's what our interquartile range is. Same thing for our second test, 88 minus 80. That's where they got those two numbers for. That's our interquartile range. So there's a difference between range and interquartile range. Range is the largest number minus the smallest, versus interquartile range is those two, Q3 minus Q2. Okay? So now we're going to do a couple more examples before I leave you alone on some of the classwork. Okay, so here we've got the numbers, and it tells us hint order the numbers, so of course we need to do that. So we've got to label them from smallest to largest. So I'm thinking 19 is my smallest number. 19. Then we've got 20, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, and 33. All right, so first thing it wants us to find is our median. Okay, so we're going to cross out each end. So 24 is my median. Okay, and remember, when we get an actual number, that means we don't include this to find our lower quartile and our upper quartile. Okay, so we're going to find our lower quartile. We're going to do 19, 19, 20, 21, and 23. And some people don't need to rewrite them and cross out. You can kind of look at this one and be like, okay, what's the middle between here and here, looking at just my lower half. But if I do it just so I can show you. So 20 is my lower quartile. And then we'll go over to this end and we'll find out what our upper quartile is. So 25, 26, 27, 29, and 33. So we'll cross out again, and 27 is my upper quartile. Okay? Remember, your lower extreme is the largest number, or your smallest number, I'm sorry, which is 19. My upper extreme is my largest number, which is 33. Okay? And to find our range, we take our upper extreme, our largest number, and subtract our smallest number, which is 19. And 33 minus 19 gives me that my range is 14. And then we want to find the inner quartile range, which means we take the upper quartile, 27, our Q3, minus our Q2, which is 20. So 27 minus 20 gives me 7. Okay, so that's my inner quartile range. All right. So then we'll make our little table. All right. So we've got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Perfect. All right, and so again, you always start by graphing your median, which is 24, and then our upper and lower quartiles, which are 20 and 27. Okay, and then we graph our lower and our upper extreme, which is 19 to create our whiskers, and 33 at the end. Okay, and then we've got a box and whisker plot. All right, number 2 says the box and whisker plot shows the weights of the electric handheld power blowers and the gasoline handheld power blowers. We want to compare the median range and inner quartile range of the two types of blowers. So first of all, we're just going to compare. Okay, we're going to say the median is less than or greater than of one or the other. Okay, so we'll look at the electric first. We'll find that median, and then we'll find the median for the gasoline. All right, so the median for the electric, remember that's my point in the middle, which is 6.75. All right, and then my gasoline's median is 10.5. All right, so if you look between those two, 6.5 is much less than 10.5. So just to kind of shorthand this, comparing our medians, my electric is a lot less than our gas. Okay, then we want to compare the range. All right, remember range means your largest number minus your smallest. So my range for the electric, I'm going to show my work here. Range is equal to my largest number, 9, minus my smallest number, which is 5. So that's going to give me that my range for electric is 4. And then we'll look at our gasoline. So my range would be 12.5 minus 7.5. So 12.5 minus 7.5 gives me 5. So my range for gas is 5. Okay, so that means electric, again, is less than the gas as far as our ranges are concerned. Okay, And then for our interquartile range, I'm going to show my work over here. And interquartile range can be shortened to IQR, okay? An interquartile range is when you subtract your Q3 minus your Q2. So for this one, you would do 7.5 minus 6, and that gives you 1.5. So my electric interquartile range, IQR, is 1.5. Versus my gasoline, we would do 11.75 minus 9. And that's going to give me 2.75. Which means that electric, again, is less than gas. With my median, my range, my IQR, you can even look on here and see that everything's a lot less on your actual box and whisker plots. Okay? So that's just using those box and whisker plots to be able to compare data. All right? I'm going to flip over to the next page. And so using that, it says about what percent of blowers are less than 7.5 pounds. So let's look at our electric. Okay? 7.5 is right here. So we want to know what is less than that. All of this data less than that. And it's wanting to know percentage. Remember I said that each section is a quarter of our data. That means that's 25%. So that's 25, another 25, and another 25. So if you add that up 3 times, that means that 75% of my data, or 75%, is less than 7.5 pounds. Okay? And then it says about what percent of gasoline blowers are more than 10.5. So 10.5 is right here at my median, which means that's in the middle. So that means everything above it is going to be how much? Well, 50%, because it's over half. So 50% of my data, that's 25 and 25, 50%. Right? Which type of blower would you say is lighter blower? Explain. Well, you can sit there and see the electric. The largest, its weight is 9 pounds. And then here, just its lowest quartile for the gasoline is less. So that means electric weighs less. Okay? Now then we want to talk about outliers, okay? So it says use the following information. An outlier is a data value whose distance from the upper quartile is more than 1.5 times the interquartile range, okay? So first we want to make a box and whisker plot, okay? And we'll talk about what could be an outlier of our data. So we're going to list it from smallest to largest, just like we've been doing. So I think my smallest number is 97. Then we've got 98. Then we have 100. And then 103. And then we have 105. And then we have 110. Then we have 112. And then we have 117. And then 129 and 156. All right. So then I'm going to, just like we do before, find our median. So I'm going to cross my points out. So we have 105 and 110 leaving our median. So that means we need to find the average. So 105 plus 110 divided by 2 gives me 107.5. So that is my median. All right, then we take this smaller section. So we split our data right in half, okay? Because that 107.5 was what was in the middle. So we do 97, 98, 100, 103, and 105. And we're going to find the median of that, which will give us 100. So that's my Q2. All right, and then we'll take the same data and we'll find on the other half and find our Q3. So that gives me 110, 112, 117, 129, 156. All right, and we cross them out. And 117 is my Q3. All right, so now we can plot our points. So we start at 97. I think I'm going to go in increments of 5 because it goes up pretty large from 97 all the way to 156. So I'm going to start at 95. Okay, and go up in increments of 5. So that's 100, 105, 110, 115, 120, 125, 130, 135, 140, 145, 150, 155, and then 160. All right, so our median we said was 107.5, so a little bit over 105. Our Q2 is at 100. Our Q3 is at 117, so a little bit over 115. So that's our box. And then our whiskers starting at 97 is my smallest number, so a little bit before 95. And my largest number is 156. So right above 155. Now notice that this is really skewed over to the left. Most of my data is all the way over here, and then you've got this long whisker over here. That's where you can 9 times out of 10 see that you're going to have an outlier. Okay, we want to determine if there are any outliers to show that in the snowfall data set. So basically what we do is we take our interquartile range, just like it says, 1.5 times the interquartile range. So we take our interquartile range, and so remember that's when you take IQR is equal to Q3 minus Q2. All right, so my Q3 is 117 and my Q2 is 100. And so that gives me 17. Now to find out if there is an outlier, you take that number, 17, and you multiply it by 1.5. Okay? So you take 117, or you take 17, sorry, and multiply it by 1.5. And that gives you 25.5. So anything taking these numbers and going greater than 25.5 is going to be an outlier. Okay? So you're going to take that that Q3 and our Q2, and we'll add and subtract 25.5. So I'll take my Q2, 100, and subtract 25.5. So 100 minus 25.5 gives me 74.5. Anything below 74.5, so anything below 74.5 equals an outlier. Well, my lowest point is 97, so that means I don't have an outlier to the left. So then we check and we take our Q3, 115, or 117, I'm sorry, 117, and we add 25.5, okay? So we do 117 plus 25.5 to give me 142.5. So anything equal to or above, really, but I'll say below and above. Above 142.5 is equal to an outlier. So if we look at our data points, we go 129 and then 156. So that means that 156 is greater than that 142.5. So 156 is an outlier. So again, just to reiterate how we do that, we take our interquartile range and multiply that by 1.5. And we take our Q2 and then our Q3, and we add and subtract those numbers from those. You always subtract from Q2 because you want to know less than that, and you always want to add Q3 because you want to be greater than that. And whatever numbers that are above or below those two numbers, those are an outlier. Okay, so 156 is an outlier in our data. Okay? All right. So then here, just to answer a few more questions, see what it tells us to find. It says, Colby graphed some data as shown in this box and whisker plot. For some reason, it didn't plot the median. Which statement is true about Colby's data? It says the range is 25. Well, let's check our range. Our range Let's see, this goes in increments of 25, 30, 35, 40. Yeah, it goes in increments of 5. So that's at 80, 85, 90, 95. So 95 is my largest number, minus my smallest number, which is at 25. 90, 80, 75, 60. No, 70 would be my range. 95 minus 25. Yep, 70 is my range. So that's not true. All right, it says 1/2 of the data is below 65. Well, 65 is right here. But that's only one whisker. That's only 25% of my data, so that's not true. The median is 60. 60 is right here. Still not true. 3/4 of the data are below 90. Okay, so 90 is right here. So that's Q1, which is 25%. Another 25% is 50. Another 25 right before I hit 90 is 75%, 3/4. That's true. D is correct. All right. This one doesn't actually have a question. I don't know what they were expecting to do there, but whatever. All right. Number 6. It says below is the box and whisker plot of this data. To which number is the arrow most likely pointing? So first of all, where is it pointing at? It's pointing at my median. So that means I need to find the median of this data. Okay, so I'm going to list my numbers from smallest to largest. 11, 12, 15, 18. Oh, there's another 12, sorry. That's not a, these are brackets. I know I got mixed up. Let's see, 11, 12, 12, 15, 18, 18, and 19. There we go. And so to find our median, again, we just cross out our endpoints. Okay. What am I missing? Oh, never mind. I'm not missing anything. 15 is my median, so C is our answer. All right. The next part says, what is the median weight of the football players? Well, remember, median is this line right here, which is in between 200 and 220. So right in between 200 and 220 would be 210. So the median weight, so that means half of my people are below 210, half of my people are above 210. All right, and then the last question tells us to explain what the box and whisker plot says. See the example. I don't know what they're talking about with the notes because I pulled this from something different. At least 4 bullet points to say about this. So basically, we just want to point out some different parts of it. And what I'm going to tell you about this part is what's called your 5-number summary, okay? And that's going to talk about in your classwork a little bit. That basically means what are the 5 values of your data. So technically, we're going to list more than 4 points. We're going to list 5 data points, okay? So here, and this is going to be really important for you in your classwork, the 5-number summary. Okay? Your 5-number summary is basically what is your lower extreme, your lower quartile, or your Q2, your median, your upper quartile, and then your upper extreme. And your lower quartile is also known as your Q3. So this is what's called your 5-number summary because it's 5 different numbers that you need to know in order to create your box and whisker plot. So looking here, my lower extreme is my smallest number. So we got to look, okay, this goes from 60 to 70. So I'm thinking 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, these are going in increments of 2. So that's 62 is my lower extreme. So 62 degrees. My lower quartile is right before 70. So that's at 68 degrees. My median is right above 70, so that's at 72 degrees. My upper quartile is right below 80, so that would be 78 degrees. And then your upper extreme is right here, 2 digits above 80, so that would be at 84 degrees. So that is your 5-number summary. Your lower extreme quartile, your median, your upper quartile, and your upper extreme. So all of those are your 5-number summary, which is what's going to help you in your classwork coming up next. All right. So for the classwork for this, we've got two worksheets, box and whisker plot worksheet 1 and box and whisker plot worksheet 2. So the first part, you're just answering all the questions about what it asks you for with the box and whisker plot. And then on the second part, you've got some creating of a box and whisker plot. You're telling me what the 5-number summary is, all of that good stuff, okay? And then box and whisker plot number 2, your box and whisker worksheet 2, it's going to ask you some different information. What's your median, your quartile, upper quartile, all of that good stuff. This one asks you for the 5-number summary, creating box and whisker plots. So you're just getting lots of practice on what we just learned on how to create and different answers about a box and whisker plot. Okay, so that's all you need to know about a box and whisker plot. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to let me know. Message me on Remind, email me, all that good stuff. Okay, I miss you guys lots. I'll talk to you later. Bye.